And a great big hey, howdy, hey to all my goofy goobers out there. Welcome back to Animanic Commentaries with C.Auzi+D.Fanatic.
Andy F. Shalom.
Tonight we are returning back to Egypt to the, I think this is DreamWorks' second theatrical release. To think that they peaked really, you'd think they peaked really early, right? This is The Prince of Egypt from 1998. Honey, why don't you go ahead and talk about the movie for a little bit, what your familiarity with it is and such.
Well, this was, as far as I recall, my earliest introduction to the Moses story. It still remains my favorite version of the Moses story, even after watching the Ten Commandments, for a number of reasons. I think, and you know, it's really a shame that DreamWorks doesn't do more musicals, because they did really well with this one. They
did.
Also, well, I guess it helps that Katzenberg got petty and stole some of the, he stole Hans Zimmer from and Stephen Schwartz from Disney. Yeah, Hans Zimmer, who did the Lion King music, and then Stephen Schwartz, who, well, prior to this film, worked on Pocahontas and Hunchback of Notre Dame alongside Alan Menken, and would also later go on to write for Wicked.
The song and dance for Wicked, the music and the lyrics.
Wicked. And he would also reunite with Menken again for Enchanted.
That is true. I kind of forget that was a Stephen Schwartz.
Yeah. So if y'all are new to this, but you've seen the new Wicked movie, or if you've been with us for the Hunchback of Notre Dame and Pocahontas, you know that the musical slap.
Oh yeah, it is really, really good. I'll just say that I am right there with you, honey, in the same friggin' boat. This is my earliest version of the Moses story, you know, outside of Bible study or something like that. And it is also my favorite as well. I have not seen the Ten Commandments, I will point out, but
if you ever want to, then bear in mind it's very, very, very long.
So I've been led to believe.
Yeah, but you should know that a lot of the aesthetic choices and character design for this movie was inspired by the Ten Commandments, at least a little bit. Of course, the Ten Commandments was extremely whitewashed, where, well, I guess the actors are mostly white in here, but at least visually, they look like they could have been from that time period in that geographical location.
And if nothing else, plenty of the actors in this movie, like Jeff Goldblum and Val Kilmer, God rest his soul, he died earlier this month, which is really sad. They're all Jewish, so, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, and Spielberg,
yes.
and Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen, who the SKG for DreamWorks are also all Jewish, which, you know, makes a lot of sense why Jeffrey Katzenberg felt like this was a movie that he really wanted to do, I imagine. And you know what? All power to him, because you know what? You know, he can sometimes get it right. He can sometimes actually pull out a good idea every now and then. And this was one of them. You know what? I'll say it. This is definitely one of the best ones that they've done. And like you said,
yeah,
few musicals.
Definitely in terms of 2D animation, which isn't much for DreamWorks.
Yeah,
probably the best one.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah, definitely, because you have Road to El Dorado, which kind of went half and half on the idea of whether or not it would be a musical. Definitely a lot more Tarzan-esque, even if they did have that one number in that. Actually, no, that is very Tarzan-esque, because they have that one number.
Some other day.
They have that one number where they have the characters do. Yeah, some other time.
Yeah.
So
I am annoyed that people keep confusing this for a Disney movie. Even my band director, when she announced we're gonna do a song from the Disney movie The Prince of Egypt, and then I'm like, wait a minute, that's not it. And so my classmates who knew I was the Disney buff, they're like, was she right? Is that a Disney movie? No, it's DreamWorks. It literally says on the songbook.
Yeah, you had the songbook. Oh, that's funny. Okay. But everyone should get set to synchronize. Now, there will be logos in front of the movie. Everyone's best bet is to try to sync up with the DreamWorks logo in any copy that you have. The DreamWorks logo will be its classic original version, and that's where your best bet is to sync up with. So everyone gets set to synchronize. Everyone gets set to synchronize. We're gonna synchronize.
Yeah, so honey, Squad really wants you to stop trashing Tarzan.
I'm just saying it.
You
Tarzan,
do it every other stream.
I am simply using Tarzan as a reference point that it is not a musical. That is the only why. That is the only reason I am bringing it up. And I realized that I didn't set up my curtain or turn on my other light. So while everybody's getting ready to sing,
you do it every other stream. What's more annoying? People mistaking this for Disney or Anastasia. They're both annoying because people can't learn to read freaking logos.
I'll say this. I'll say this one is more annoying because Anastasia is a princess musical. I can understand that confusion. But this is so out of pocket compared to what Disney had done. Aside from Pocahontas, but like this is really like pushing Disney's limits on how religious they'd be willing to get. I mean, in Hunchback they changed Frollo into a judge just for that reason. They didn't want to piss anyone off. Because in the original, I think Frollo was like a priest or something like that. Like he was actually.
Yeah, he's I think he's the archdeacon.
Yeah, they were like, and they didn't want to piss off any religious groups with that, which. You know, entirely fair. And I think Squad mentioned in the chat above that this film was banned in some places, like due to religious reasons. But we're gonna be speaking.
Yeah, because Moses is considered an Islamic prophet.
Right. So I think everybody's pretty much at least Anastasia is owned by Disney now. Give it time.
Yeah,
Disney will probably eventually buy and dissolve DreamWorks, which would be very unfortunate.
And like there's a reason you don't see Muslims making these movies as much because they don't believe that there should be any visual depictions of the prophets. Yeah. And Moses is included among them. Let's see. The prophets are Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and just dive right into it now that everybody's probably most likely synchronized. Now, I'm going to open with a Universal Studios logo for anybody who needs to sync up with the DreamWorks logo. So we're going to go ahead and begin in a 3, 2, 1, and go. Let's go ahead and pull up those subtitles. Let's do 2 subtitles tracks, probably the other one for... Probably the other one for the commentary.
Yeah, because it's like how, and to give you a fair comparison, it's like in some branches of Christianity do not want any visual depictions of Christ. So.
No. Gonna do what you
you gotta respect that.
True. All right. God, it can be so relaxing. Oh, this music. There is it's a little story for me while the opening happens. So I guess I'll go ahead and read so people can sync up here at this part. All right. The motion picture you are about to see is an adaptation of the story of the Exodus story.
The Exodus story.
While artistic and historical license has been taken, we believe that this film is true to the essence, values, and integrity of a story that is a cornerstone of faith for millions of people worldwide. The biblical story of Moses can be found in the book of Exodus. Yep.
I like how they just keep it simple with the opening.
Everything
words.
That I was saying about that song when Joseph showed up in Egypt is everything that this opening number is.
Oh, where to even begin with the music?
I know. Which came out
so haunting.
Okay. Which came out first, The Prince of Egypt or VeggieTales Esther? Because this melody and the single like horn playing it.
I'm pretty sure this was first. I think Esther was maybe like 2000 or something like that.
Then I'm thinking like Esther might have been like the Prince of Egypt meets the Godfather telling the story of Esther, because this
we could have been inspired by that.
Yeah, because this opening horn and Ah,
There we go.
deliver us.
What a
friggin' way to open. Yep.
Yeah, remember, Stephen Schwartz worked on Hunchback of Notre Dame, so he has that, like, opening idea and number-wise, you know?
I'm sorry, Discord's cutting you out a lot.
Stephen Schwartz worked on Hunchback of Notre Dame, and while he didn't write the music for that, he wrote the lyrics, so he gets that banger of an opening.
You might want to go turn off any, like, noise canceling settings.
So you didn't hear any of that. So you didn't hear any of that, huh?
No, we're good. I can hear you well now.
Well, you just said
It's still a little spotty. God.
yeah. Look, props to the movie for finally making the Egyptians look Egyptian, and the early Israelites actually looking like they could have been from here.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about a lot of Bible epics up to this point. They were all white people. And well, of
Being
course, we
done
have a
in
lot of white Jews now. We only have that
Yeah.
now because of colonization.
Yeah.
And now this is an actual Hebrew singer. Sorry,
Yeah.
Israeli singer, I think. Yeah. But you know, I think she's the one who inserted the Hebrew there. The singer.
I love that the subtitles are actually capitalizing the he in appropriate spots. It's very much matching, like,
Yeah.
the biblical connotations and everything. It's the capital G.
Comparing this with the Ten Commandments, they include Miriam in this opening scene, but they also include Aaron,
That's true.
which I don't see enough.
It's like, because you'd almost have to imagine, like, the whole family goes down there, right?
Yes, and you know, usually when we hear the story, we just see Miriam in this whole river scene, and then she's never mentioned again. And then we meet Aaron when he grows up.
I think the reason is because, like, VeggieTales did an adaptation of the Miriam thing, and they did Miriam by herself because it was Miriam who.
No, Aaron was in that one.
Oh, yeah, but he wasn't at the river, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is heartbreaking. Especially in the way, well, in DreamWorks version, she never sees him again.
Yeah. Yeah, they never make. Yeah.
DreamWorks version.
That's
Actually,
one
in
of-
the Bible, Yocheved was called upon to be a wet nurse.
Which was just, and again, if you're just following the text, that is definitely God ordained. That just turned out pretty well for them.
And the Ten Commandments did it as well. And then actually in that version, he did meet his birth mother. I should show you that movie sometime. We have it on DVD.
And we got, like, Vincent Price in that, so I would definitely be down to watch it. God.
But you'll see some of the aesthetic inspiration.
I absolutely love the, like, the just absolutely wonderful.
But yeah, in the Bible, she did ask Miriam to go make sure that he did go somewhere safe.
Yep. Because we got a lot of DreamWorks using their CGI here. I definitely say that obviously it looks a lot better than the CGI horses in some of the shots of, like, Spirit. Well, you say that some of the integration might be a little dated, but you look at the plants that Miriam's walking through, you probably didn't even notice.
Look at the water, too.
The larger boats are really well integrated. I feel like the basket might be overly detailed, if you know what I mean. Like, there's way too much texture on it for it to blend well with the other 2D elements.
Yeah. And, you know, unlike
even the
unlike
water's
the Ten
blending
Commandments,
pretty
there's
well.
like barely any spoken dialogue in this. And Also, we show a little bit.
I mean, the way they use animation for like visual and nonverbal storytelling is absolutely brilliant.
Baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, props for this movie for doing more with Miriam's character.
That is true. That is true.
She's so underused. I mean, she's only mentioned in the beginning of the Exodus story.
Yeah.
Really.
And then she's kind of out of the picture. But when you're getting interpretive and you're making it into
shot here.
Oh yeah.
Look at how she looks at the handmaid. It's like, don't you dare say anything.
Yeah, not a word. Oh, and it begins. Even the framing, even the framing of like Moses, like because of him like Ramses reaching up for attention, Moses overshadows him in the frame. So that's some really good.
Man, I didn't even think of that. Nice.
Yeah. You can even tell that there's CGI for the actual physical shape of the monuments here, and then they just put paint, and they put their paintings like as a texture on top of that. Oh god, that already like pulled my soul right out of my body to hear the Deliverance here, but it's even more powerful at the end of the film.
All right, so we're here.
Yeah.
Batman. Actually, didn't Ralph?
Ooh, that was already.
At some point?
Yeah.
Ralph Fiennes was Alfred in the Lego movie Batman, wasn't he? Did you hear what I said?
I think you need to go in your Discord settings and turn off noise canceling. It'll help.
I'm not doing anything different. I'm not doing anything different.
All right.
I don't even know what you want me to look at.
Yes, Ray Fiennes as Ramses. Yeah. God.
You mean Ralph Fiennes?
I said Ray Fiennes.
You said Ray. It's Ralph.
Ralph?
Versus an LPH.
Is it Ralph?
Anyway, I was trying to say, didn't Ralph Fiennes voice Alfred at one point in the Lego Batman movie? So we got one Batman and one Alfred in here.
What a beautiful smile.
Okay, is that better?
Huh?
Is that better? You kept saying I was using noise suppression.
Yeah, turn off noise suppression, yeah.
I did.
Okay.
I don't know why that's a problem now, though.
Probably just internet. At that point.
Anyway, yes, we've got an Alfred and we've got a Batman.
Yep.
That's a rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
And down they go.
Oh, it is Rafe? Then why did you put Rafe?
Well, that's how it's spelled. Yeah, it's weird.
Damn Brits.
Yeah, damn Brits indeed.
Damn Brits always putting letters in there that don't do anything. Or inserting sounds where they don't exist.
Yeah.
Aluminium.
Speaking, hello.
Hello, Patrick Stewart.
Hello, Picard. Yeah.
And we've got Martin and Martin.
Yep.
Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Martin Short and Steve Martin. And the Martin Short's the tall one.
Oh, do you know what I found out about Steve Martin recently? Apparently, he was a member of Mensa. He has a very high IQ.
Damn. I also want to point out that Martin Short and Steve Martin are completely lost in their roles. Like, they still play comedy characters, but it's not like their usual shtick.
They're in Only Murders in the Building right now.
Yeah.
With Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Longtime friends.
You pay attention to that line weak link coming back. Because, like, that's, yeah.
You know, I really want to know how she managed to pass Moses off as her son. Wouldn't he have noticed there was some pregnancy?
I think, even in the biblical sense, like, he knew that Moses was pulled from the river. Like, he knew that he was...
Well, the way the Ten Commandments did it is that she recently lost her husband. Her first husband or something, or... I don't know. We'll talk... Yeah, I don't know.
But even this film, like, he knows that Moses is adopted.
Does he?
I mean, he doesn't speak like
we got no indication that he actually knows.
We got no indication he doesn't know, necessarily.
Actually, I think the Bible says it was Pharaoh's daughter that pulled him out, not like the current queen.
Yeah.
But you know, the Bible's kind of got plot holes everywhere.
Well, it's not exactly, you know, driven by narrative most of the time. Most of those books in the Old Testament are a census.
Genesis is a census. Genesis is a census.
And there's a few censuses, like, afterward, like Numbers, Judges.
Yeah, but they were still, like, primarily Moses stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I love how DreamWorks focused this on their brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think the Ten Commandments missed. Like,
well, that's because they were more concerned about pleasing religious groups, whereas they were concerned about not just keeping, like, religious groups happy, but also telling a good story, which is...
And, you know, humanizing the characters.
Exactly. Like, everyone sees, like, these biblical texts and, like, everyone's, like, above it all because, like, they're biblical figures. It's like, no, they're human.
My new thing!
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're already in trouble, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to show you the Cuphead AU animatic based on from this.
Yeah. It's great. Absolutely great.
I love the mom.
Yeah.
She's like, I know. Yeah, you guys are late. By the way, this is what you missed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I love that. So you can just see all the subtle facial expressions.
Don't really play favorites, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there's still the expectation Ramses will take over, but...
Exactly.
Oh, you know, I did not understand the implication of this when as a kid.
They just picked her up, probably bought her.
Or probably kidnapped her.
Either one. I mean, they say stolen, but... I guess we could take him at his word. Love the literal smoke and mirrors they involve, which we'll see more later.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep. I was like, it doesn't even matter that the actors don't look Egyptian or like of the location because they're able to just draw them like that.
So, also this is the 90s, so we gotta have a, a totally hot and very
Fiery.
headstrong woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love how I love how
a different movie too, though.
I love
Same
how
franchise, but different movie.
I love how playful Moses is.
Yes,
And,
but the mom. Oof.
yeah, it's like in front of everyone.
Yeah, like I thought I raised you better than to treat a woman that way. But she also knows this is society that she's in.
I also love to note that Moses never really like did anything. He even only like. Yep.
Yeah, well,
That won't lead to any problems at all.
He's still he's still very immature.
Yeah.
Practically still a boy.
They're both. Well, I guess he is quite a bit younger. Even Ramses was like walking around.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Ten Commandments, Moses, he was essentially, a good guy from start to finish. But, right.
I love this.
Didn't really understand what was supposed to happen here.
I love this shit. It's like, yeah, because like Moses was like being very polite,
Yeah, but it's kind of expected. She even tied up the dogs.
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? You don't want them barking. You don't want them literally like alerting the palace.
Like the girl has skill, like to tie up those dogs. You have any idea how feisty dogs can get if you try to hold them down?
You know how feisty she got? They probably scared of her.
2 of them too.
Yeah. Yes. Also love this.
Yeah, show that he is immature, but he still has a sense of righteousness. Yeah. So, all right, take notes, people. This is how you make us like a character within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like he instantly like lived up to his title. You will just show me the respect. It's like he didn't even like say is like you will do as I say. It's like no, it's one of the due respect that he had as a Prince of Egypt, which again he wasn't even born into it. Yeah.
And Sandra Bullock.
Yep. It is some manner of meet cute. Not the best meet cute, obviously. We'll see her again later. Bye-bye. For now. Oops. Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely like this way of him finding out. I think the Bible doesn't really say how he finds out about his parentage. So that's why it's... Oh, God.
God.
Lines that to fly over your head as a kid.
Yeah.
Or you don't understand, at least.
I also want to point out that at least like with the cheekbones, Aaron does look a little bit like Jeff Goldblum. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, remember, he was still raised in the palace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. I just made the connection too. Jeff Goldblum, Stephen Schwartz, Wicked.
Oh, goddamn.
Winners. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is the best version that really shows the impact that would have on someone finding out that your entire life's been a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And much like a lot of Disney musicals, but first this little brief reprise.
And you'd heard him whistling it earlier too, so then he does
true.
subconsciously remember this.
That is true, because this was not just a part of the. It wasn't just a part of the emotional moment. It was also an actual lullaby. And look at her hair framing her face like her mother's veil did hers. It's like, I love that. It's like, it's the exact same shot, just at night with Miriam instead of Yocheved. Whoops!
And it's because of this that he starts singing.
It's the first time he runs into a man and knocks him over. It won't be the last.
And, he's in denial. He's like, no, I can't be born from this.
Yep. And I noticed that he sings about how I am a prince of Egypt, and the song is called All I Ever Wanted. Much like Disney movies, the I Want song takes place pretty close to the opening number, or at least the second song in the film. Or at least what he thought he wanted.
Singing voice.
Yeah. I love Oh So Noble. That's really fun. Belongings I belong. Stephen Schwartz. Just God.
Okay, the singing voice is Amick Byram. Ugh.
Yeah.
Who apparently was also on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of music credits.
Right. Such a great.
Okay, so apparently he sings in a lot of different movies, including Wish. But in as chorus.
Okay, so I actually want to point out that this is something I kind of complained about last time with Joseph, is that it's like he's singing but his mouth isn't moving. But at the same time, there isn't dialogue like underneath it muddying up the mix, and this is probably, if not like most creative use of animation in this movie. It is definitely the one that people remember the most. And the way they basically just map the animation onto the wall.
Yeah, they call them biblical scholars. They also went to Egypt for a little bit. And it shows.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, well, I showed this to the kids at babysit. They were horrified of the scene.
I also love the music. Just really portraying an actual nightmare.
They didn't even show the babies being killed in the first time we saw this. They just had the cutaways.
No, they don't even show it to us. Yeah, you never see any bloodshed in that regard, at least.
I know, but we didn't see the babies except for Moses in the beginning.
We did not see them being taken. So I love that. Love them reframing that shot as I guess this would be hieroglyph, right?
Fix, yeah.
I mean, the hieroglyph would really only be the text portion. Okay, well, I mean, I guess that's technically blood when you get down to it. The red in the water.
Kind of foreshadowing to the blood.
Yeah.
It's
and
in
then
the
he's
Nile.
like, but it couldn't be, right? And it's like, his history's etched on every wall, and which he sung about, trying to bring himself back down to earth.
Maybe he'd seen it before as a child, but hadn't thought about it until now.
Yeah. And that's why all of it, with the lullaby, the music tapped into a memory. And dug it up in the form of a nightmare. And there it is.
She drew those babies in detail. I just noticed.
Yeah. This is kind of a Nazi-ish.
But they don't show him as, he's not like your goofy, cartoony villainy here.
Yeah, it's not
like look at
terribly over the top.
Like the eyes.
It's like
also Patrick Stewart really commend you on the voice.
Yeah, it's like he really believes like what he was like what he had to do. So you may
like,
actually be right.
Sacrifices like me.
It's like he you
on
might,
this
be, right
shot
you
right
might
here.
be right about him not necessarily knowing.
Yes, and like and
also
we
love,
see
can we also talk about like colorist or lighting or whoever animated the shine of the gold whenever we see the gold like hit the light in any shot, but that one in particular like was really was great.
Oh, I forgot. So the mother's voiced by Helen Mirren. It was like a lot of voice credits. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. So maybe Seti? Maybe Seti knows he's adopted, just not where from. You know? That's a great moment.
And even though she's talking about the Egyptian gods, it does.
Yep. Oh, and then we hear the lullaby, which reveals what Moses is really feeling, right? And also want to point out that this didn't have a credit. So I believe she was definitely reprising, doing a reprise of the previous song with different lyrics.
Yes. And because it was the mom he grew up with.
That is true.
The one who loved him.
It's connected to all he ever wanted, which is why.
It's weird that we don't see her again, though. In the Ten Commandments, we do see that mom again.
Well, obviously, they wanted to put more emphasis on the relationship of the brothers, which is about to hit the fan in a big way in just a hot minute.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Ten Commandments, in terms of Moses' personal life, focused on his relationship with his mothers, and also there was apparently a love triangle
between Moses and whom?
Well, okay, Moses, the Pharaoh's niece, and Ramses, and before he met Zipporah.
I just noticed that one of the people in the background trudging along was CGI.
Okay, so, I know this is an important part, but Gracie just used the litter box, and I can't stand the smell. So
you go take care of that. And honestly, the idea of, like, Miriam speaking out against things. Yeah. It makes sense that this is the reason this happened, that Moses' discovery of from where he came led him to doing this. To mention a middle Ruxel, we're looking at sand. And, this. God, those brass stabs are so fucking intense, and the way the shot is twists around. Yeah. It's and off he goes. And again, the gold glinting off the light. I love that, like, Moses really, like, running toward the camera and then's, like, spun around and stopped by Ramses. Like, that is really, really good. Like, the physical acting on that.
Yeah.
Would you say it's like,
Yes.
but it's drawn. It's like, but it is physical acting. And it's really well done.
So yeah, definitely the canon event is that Moses kills a man who's harming a slave.
Yeah.
And then he ends up in the desert.
And he knows where he's from. And it's like,
yeah. Now the Ten Commandments he
Yeah.
was banished by Ramses, and they did not have this kind of relationship. They hated each other
Yeah.
from the get-go. But this is much more complex. Because Ramses didn't know.
yeah.
Because he was too young to remember. Oof. Yeah, and I was saying how we never see Seti again after that one scene. So,
Yeah.
so like that, yes, the way he backed away. In this moment,
Yeah.
it's like, but I don't understand. You're my brother. Where are you going?
Yeah.
Get out now. Yeah, DreamWorks really
Yeah.
pull at my heartstrings here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was still everything he knew, the family
I love
knew.
how he was still there, like he was still like cross dissolving, like in the shot.
Yeah.
He was resting in like Moses' shoulder. It's just like
Which
so
they'll do
small.
again later.
Yeah, I think this film really you could tell they painted the CGI on top. They put the painting on top of CGI because the depth that they create with that is really stellar. And there's plenty of times where it's like you can hardly tell, is that just a flat painting or is that put like on a 3D background? And it might all be put on a 3D background for all we know, because it's like just to have that control with the camera. So maybe not.
I got
though.
squad saying, you have to mention litterbox when I'm looking at all that sand. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just thinking about the smell.
Yeah. You know, Jonah would come out a few years later. They probably took a lot of influence from the from some of the art in this film.
Like I said, the Bible epic.
Mm-hmm. I think Jonah also borrowed a little bit from Aladdin with the marketplace and such, but well.
Oh, you're right.
But we can talk about that later because that is also a musical. And now it's like all this way, and now he finally throws. That's just poetry.
Yeah.
That's just filmmaking. It's
Yeah.
like you'd think he'd dump this stuff sooner, but like, no, it's not as emotionally raw unless you see it
Yeah, but he
happen.
keeps the thing that his
Yeah.
brother gave him.
Yeah, the one thing that he actually got from his brother, the one thing he would care about. Oh, and something he hasn't had to deal with because he's lived in the palace his whole life. Sandstorm. Ain't that great?
He was straight up ready to die here, damn.
Yeah, yeah. Poor
But God
fella.
wouldn't let him.
Poor fella really going through it. Also,
You know,
this
there is quite a bit.
also, this is-
there is quite a bit that just seems like a lot like, divine intervention. I mean, from the
Yeah.
crocodiles in the Nile to this.
But of course, at least if the crocodiles in the Nile, that was definitely probably some artistic license. To make it more dramatic.
The point being that, like, someone up
Here
there
in
is
the-
looking out for him.
Here
Just
in the
this
desert,
dumb look happening.
Yeah. Here in the desert, though, I think he definitely was about to die.
But then God sent a camel, and look, nobody's even riding that camel.
Nope. Camel's all on its Lone Star.
So, yeah.
Ow. that sounded like it hurt.
I don't know why I really love the sheep designs in this movie. They're so cute.
They're adorable. They got some dead men.
But, yeah, and our early Muslims.
But we also still like have his sense of right and wrong.
Yeah, early Muslims, pre-Muhammad.
Yep. Bye-bye.
If people don't know your biblical history, the the Hebrews are born from Abraham's son Isaac, while those who would eventually become the Muslims follow with the Prophet Muhammad. They were descended from Ishmael.
Yep, and also.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Can't even see him yet.
Yeah, but.
Yep.
And then payback. You threw me in the water. I'm gonna throw you in the water. Now we're even. Love her.
I'll give it a montage. You can even see his beard growing in.
Something you could see us doing. What? When would I have the time to throw you in water?
What did did I say?
No. A writer was saying something I could see you two doing. Like what? Who is that? Danny Glover or some?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Danny Glover.
They even got him like shaved up a little bit, and he doesn't have the stubble anymore. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad he's like, oh, whoops.
Yep. Yep. Understand on ceremony.
Yeah, at the time to throw you in water.
Because he saved his daughters from those terrible men. Yeah, and this.
And she's like,
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're not as spoiled a brat as I thought.
Yep. I love how this.
You gotta.
Yep. I love that framing. And then they. Yep.
Yeah, Stephen Shorts, you're very good at songwriting.
It's great.
He's very good at metaphors too, especially when he gets wicked and for good. Like if you just listen to Wicked for Good on its own to get a sense of metaphors.
And I love the switch up in the music, like that really gives the song some really good energy. It's like the change up of the tempo is like wonderful. Yep. His facial hair growing in, and just like showing just how much time has passed while he's out here.
But I think their representation is at least better than the Ten Commandments, which makes them look like some, women bartering sheiks, if you know what I mean.
I love that framing. Never really noticed that he's literally saying like a man losing all like his like riches. Has he lost everything he's worth, or is it a path to a brighter birth? And this is literally a sheep being born. It's like
and the sheep growing.
Yeah.
And I've seen people watch this and they're like, thinking of this whole relationship goes by fast. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No,
Didn't you see the montage?
This is
pants like shit.
Like, this is musical theater right here, is where you use a song to supplement a montage, and it is clear that it has been months, no, years, because
the sheep was born and it grew up.
Yep, and clearly things have changed between them over those months and years. He says as he joins the dance, and this is, well, not yet, I don't think. We're getting there.
And then
here it is.
He's asking for permission.
He's like, what the hell? Love it.
I'd love to know what she was saying with that silhouette.
And there it is. Now, would they have worn white for a wedding? Who knows? It at least gives the impression everyone in the American audience that it's a wedding, because to wear white at a wedding, typically. I mean, a white cloth is not necessarily too difficult to come by, because, like, I mean, you just don't dye it, because, like, sheep's wool is pretty light color. And as we see later, they return to this location. This is supposed to be the base of Mount Sinai, which is not necessarily terribly obvious unless you know the biblical context of, like, the shot at the end, which we'll get there. Which we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, you know, they have the site of what they think is the burning bush.
Like archaeological, or like just for tourism? It's like they had like actual curiosity of the fact, or just... I mean, everyone's curious. Everyone's always curious. People want to know where the hell Noah's boat landed. Oh, and from the song, like the lost sheep greater than the richest king is like, and it's the sheep.
Okay.
Who leads...
The burning bush, believed by some to be the bush where God spoke to Moses, is located within the grounds of St. Catherine's Monastery on Mount Sinai.
Which does put it in the general location of where the movie has placed it. Which just goes to show, just like Ryder was saying earlier in the chat, how they talked to a lot of people and biblical scholars and such.
Of course, now it's fenced off due to visitors taking cuttings.
Ow.
But I think what made them think it is because they tried taking cuttings and planting it elsewhere, but it will not grow anywhere else.
I think I heard about that, actually. Now, this is a really nice visual. Like, it's a very, like, ethereal, ghostly spirit of flame. And it's not even hot, and the lighting it gives is like water. Like, that is not the
like
light
holy flame.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like red or orange like most depictions show.
It's not even blue.
Kind of bluish. It's softer, you mean? It's like softer.
Yeah.
And the fact that the voice of God is also Val Kilmer, I think, is a very good choice.
Yeah.
Creatively, it shows that the voice of God, it's so out of place, but you know, he is the voice of everybody. Yeah. And of course, coming to him is acting like Moses' inner voice.
And to quote the Bible directly, which he does in a moment, like, here it is. Here's the line right here.
Yeah. Yahweh.
Or otherwise or sometimes referred to as the great I am. And you can see, and in that water connection, you can see his voice is creating ripples, like when you throw a stone in the water. And he takes off his sandals.
Even just with all these voices being sprinkled about as well.
Yeah.
Like God is the voice of everyone.
Yeah. I feel like
then we get a little brighter.
Yep.
Oh yeah, when he gets angry, it gets more, fiery.
Yeah. And here's what's really in the one connection of like the bush burning and like God's voice coming from.
We'll talk about how that turned out later.
Yeah. Yep.
Because you were put in a place where you know the people in church. That's why you were brought there.
Yeah. And he echoes those words.
Yeah. And you're here in Midian with the Midianites, knowing what a freedom looks like.
Yep. And yeah, this is so in terms of like you know, a big moment that is being interrupted.
Your brother is someone's trying to blackmail David. David,
What are you talking about?
he posted some pictures to Instagram a few years back, and somebody is trying to use him to blackmail. So if you get something from
Or whether the flames just envelop him
pictures,
Got it.
as flames, so to speak.
I block anything I don't know. Okay, so that was actually an emergency. There is some, like, trouble going on. But don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just a scam. Just a scam going around. Yep. And one of the creative liberties they took from the biblical text, and even VeggieTales, despite doing it as the Lone Ranger, was that Moses was still saying, no, I can't do it. Even after, like, you shall do my wonders with the staff. It's like, no, I can't do it. It's like, and then God was like, fine, your brother Aaron will speak for you, which they did do which VeggieTales did in their adaptation. They decided not to do it.
Which actually is in the Bible.
Yeah. But in this adaptation, they decided to let Moses actually get up the strength to speak for himself, which honestly, I mean, Ten Commandments did as well. So we see Moses, and it's like, and in a way, it shows us his growth in this because he was such like what a rapscallion, what a funny little guy who just, you know, never really asked to be put in this position, but now he's actually gathered up the strength to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ten Commandments also, that every time he was touched by God, he would get older.
Oh,
They
and
didn't
this
do
is
that here.
and this is great. There was an entire scene of dialogue written, but James Baxter, who I've talked about on plenty of the Disney stuff and even Spirit, he was responsible for this animation, and it's like did it without dialogue, and you can see her slowly sitting down, taking this all in. Everything here, like. Everyone who's ever talked about this movie has talked about this scene to death. So I'll just be one other person to say, brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. Yep. And you understand the conversation. He basically just relayed exactly what, yeah. You can see her expression soften.
Yeah. You don't even, yeah, you know, she's like, this is dangerous. You could die.
Yeah.
We got married only recently. How can you leave me? Of course, also in the Bible, he would have had a son by this point.
Yeah.
But I guess he couldn't find a place to fit him in.
Much like Aaron just became, you know, a slight comedy from Jeff Goldblum. It's like, yeah, even if Moses didn't get up the resolve to speak for himself and like in the original text and such, he still did, like, you know, do it, and he let everybody out of there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you're going to do this, you're not doing it alone.
Yeah. I don't know if his wife went with him.
She did in the Ten Commandments, so she brought their son along too. Well, yeah, because she was definitely with them when they went to Jericho and such. Well, you know, first time they went to Jericho.
Yeah. So the way they have them, like, you know, slightly trans, like have them like, you know, have them like 50% opacity, as it were.
It's like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
That's a face.
Mm-hmm. You can see his brow keeps furrowing just a little more with every step the camel makes. And here we are back in the opulence and cold blue colors here in this room in the palace. It's like, well, this room is still the same. That's what I gather from that facial expression.
Pristine white with like the faint sunlight going in.
Mm-hmm. You can also give the impression.
What they got away with this rating.
There's PG.
The fact that he came out of the shadows too, and like
PG meant something, you know.
Yeah, that came out of the
Yeah.
shadows, and when you thought it was Seti, he was like, "No, it's Ramses I'm coming to talk to."
Yeah. You can see how much older Ramses looks, just to point out how much time has passed.
God. Yeah, they totally gloss over this in the
Yeah.
Bible. Like, yeah, this is the guy you grew up with.
So.
I mean, it was murder,
Yeah.
technically.
Not much hesitation.
Oof. And then it, yeah, just as his fat father said.
He's like, he's really not comfortable with this.
Well, I mean, that helps. You can't
Yeah.
take back a pardon.
It's like, if nothing else, yeah, about that. You really see the pain on his face.
Sure which Ramses it is, but people speculate it was Ramses II. Thing is, there were a lot of Setis and Ramseses.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that he lets go as soon as he says commands.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what's...
Yeah.
Of course, he's like, what's going on? Like, I always knew you as a jokester. What is going on here?
And here is the first wonder that Moses demonstrates through God's will.
No, they also do this scene better than the Ten Commandments did it.
Well, I mean yeah. It's really...
No. Okay, not just with the transformation, because, 1950s technology, but...
But in terms of, like, the actual, like, presentation of it. It's like, yes, an awareness that you're also referring to, like, the overall... And, like, these fellas... This gives a little bit of a villain number here.
Yeah, but, like, they got all this grandeur, but you could see the people pulling the pulleys.
Yeah, and
like,
you can see...
it's all smoke and mirrors, quite literally.
The actual mirrors...
Yes, they got more spectacle, but you see, it's all just fake.
Yeah. and they're calling on the power of their gods to be done through them. Kind of basically the same thing Moses has actually done. They're claiming to do.
Oh, the Martins.
Yeah.
the way they emphasize these names.
And we already know these guys can sing. And of course, calling on the sun as the biggest big boy.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ra was pretty much like the Zeus of Egypt.
He was the sun. And yeah, that was slick, and even the mouth, which even the curtains look like a smile. Yeah. God.
I was like, we've been looking to get back at you for years.
Yeah, Yep.
Oh. Every time these two actors are together.
Gesture, best you're playing with the big... I love that.
Show how they're bigger in number.
Yep.
And the snake is just sitting there. They're playing.
Twig,
nice touch.
Twig boy, big boys. That's, yeah. And then you see that in their smoke and mirrors, that as soon as they smack those sticks together, and everyone's like blinded, and then, whoop.
Misdirection.
Yep. All it was.
But those are real sticks still.
Oh, that's really great. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
And this is also from the biblical text where God took his snake and swallowed the magician's snakes.
yeah, but the
Yeah.
it also does it so silently while they're doing all this spectacle
Yeah.
here.
He's like, no one's even thinking for a minute. No one cares about the snakes. And
Also shows like the nature of the God in the Bible is just like this mysterious force, like a very silent but strong.
Yeah. Well, as he said before.
And look at the shots. He's looking down.
Yeah.
And he's looking.
He looks out.
Look, even his
he put his
statue was bigger than Seti's.
He's literally compensating for something, like, because the inferiority his father made him feel, Yeah.
Shot.
And he's framed within them. Woof. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. There's just this moment. It's between. Yep.
And you didn't come back for me.
Yeah. He's like, ooh, and then after all these years, and if
this
that
whole
isn't
complex
the moment,
relationship.
Yeah. All right, and then in this moment, once again, no dialogue. He picks up the ring, and
Or
then,
more like cut off dialogue, I should say.
Okay, well, there is a brief moment. And then this right here. Yeah. Just every facial expression. When I talk about facial expressions on this commentary like thing that we do, usually I'm referring to comedy or some like really fun facial expression, but in this one it's really. And that came back. You can even hear like this melody is associated with the whoops.
And this is how you make a complex antagonist.
Also absolutely love that in the captions, I don't know y'all watching subtitles on or not, but the captions when he said that you're God, it wasn't a capital G. I like that. That's actually really clever. You only get that if you're watching it with subtitles. And that wasn't even like a filmmaker's decision necessarily. Yeah.
This is an important scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a point, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is like when a homophobe realizes that they are actually queer.
Yeah.
Just to give people some perspective.
Yeah.
Case in point.
It's when
I used to be homophobic.
It's like when the shoe is on the other foot, and then you're like, well, now I feel like I must do something. And the thing is, Moses wouldn't have come back. He did care only when he found out that these were his people. True, but he didn't come back until God told him to. He was totally content to live out his life with his brand new family in the desert.
Yeah, and he hadn't grown up as a slave like the rest of these people.
Exactly. He had a comfortable life, like in the palace. He had a comfortable life out with the Midians out in the desert.
Although the Ten Commandments did emphasize that, Moses, like I understand that we can still, work hard without being enslaved. Like working by choice for ourselves.
Now, if I am correct, it is within this same moment, without a transition from one day to the next, where they go straight to the river, and then they see Ramses out for a little boating adventure, and they do the Nile to blood. Yep,
it's right there.
Right there. Yep. And it's like, so here we go. Here we go. You know what, everybody? I love Jeff Goldblum. He can be a lot of fun.
This actually isn't that comedic a role for Jeff Goldblum in this.
No, but definitely his lines, like, earlier when, like, they first met Moses, he was definitely, like, being definitely very funny, like, energy.
Yeah, well, I'm not laughing because it's also very serious.
True. Not, like, funny ha-ha, but just very, very amusing. He basically compared him to a dog with that line. Alright, and into the river they go. Well, they're at the shallow part, so. Yep. There's Ramsey's. There's Ramsey's son. Which is actually very important because, unlike Moses' son,
violence.
He's actually pretty important to the story. We'll get there. Yep. I always like the interpretation also that the reason that, like, Val Kilmer also did the voice of God is because God's voice is so unknowable that if you did hear him speak, you might just literally hear it as your own voice, the only voice you would recognize.
That's what I said earlier.
I think Discord might have been cutting you off, or I was away at the door.
No.
These are just... Then I'm just repeating the point. And also...
And...
I think you and I are about to say the same thing.
That it's not touching Moses?
Yeah, that the water around Moses is completely clean. Just very, very quickly trying to replicate this trick.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like, could this be a fair substitute? And it's like,
no, and Ramsey seems to understand, like, yeah, this is just a trick.
yeah.
Yeah, none of it is touching him.
Yeah, but, my fake blood is better than your fake blood. Your fake blood is very watery. Mine is actually very viscous. What'd you use, flour?
Here's the thing about the plagues. God gave him, like, numerous opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
To actually do this.
And
it's really the Pharaoh who just says, no, this isn't enough. So really, it's the Pharaoh calling down, like, yeah, sure, you could do better than that. That's all you got? Like, well, you asked for it.
It's what's really...
God, you know, this... We need this movie right now.
Yeah.
In our life right now.
Yeah.
Yes, let's take down the tyrant who doesn't care about human rights.
Yep.
And here we go, this song.
And this is another montage. The plagues.
Thus said the Lord, thus said the Lord. And just the slow.
And there's a really good CGI with the frogs. They actually integrate very well.
You need to hear the Broadway, the way they do it on Broadway. You need to hear the track for that.
Oh.
It goes from the God listening to the thus said the Lord, thus said the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, just showing the rest of the plays in advantage.
Yeah. We're just kind of breezing by them. And this melody comes back. Even all I ever wanted even comes. Love this. Love these lyrics. And again,
it touches him.
Yep, as he walks through, but it never touches him.
Yeah. He shows that, like, the young children of Egypt didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, at that point it's like
Can't do anything about it.
fed up with your nonsense.
And
Get
we
the
never
hell outta
see
here.
them again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we finally get to hear from his perspective. He doesn't get his own entire song, but that verse really is like, even his heart being, oh, the harmony. Oh, God. Oh, and the darkness is a fascinating one to visually depict. That, again,
Yeah.
all the color and everything you could ever see from the world is gone, except for the place where the Hebrews are. Yep. Everything cast in literal, like, enveloped shadow. In, like, yeah, and that's such a great way of showing it, too. It's barely any light, if anything.
Yeah. Really need to put 10 Commandments on our, like, just, private time watch list
Just
at
put
some
just
point.
put on our list of films, yeah.
Yeah, although considering how long it is,
And
you might benefit more to watch the first disc.
And look at whose head has fallen from his shoulders in that statue in the hallway. Back.
And we're here again.
Yeah.
Keep been drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. He not happy. This is gonna be a hard part for people to sync up with if you're unsynced. There's very little color here. God, but it works so well.
Because the first time we saw it, it was all bright, and
It was all bright and warm, and now it's
Yeah.
gray and just black with the darkness.
Yeah, literal darkness, and the darkness over the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to know how they did that. Were they the giant statues or just little idols?
Yes.
God.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not little
Yeah.
boys anymore.
Then,
Oh, and he has the ring on his finger now. Did you
Yeah.
notice?
Yep.
And he's rubbing it.
Yeah. Yeah, because he
Oh,
remembers when he gave Moses the ring. It was like he spoke to Pharaoh, which they say
Because-
framed up against. You can tell what this is.
Oh, yeah. And they show that he really does care for his son.
Of course he does. Probably showing his son the love that he believes his father never properly showed him. Yeah.
You hear that, White House?
God.
Well, I didn't want to say his name.
Yeah. Yep. Moses has the script for this, like, plot. like 9 terrors have already happened.
Oh.
And hit.
Yes.
Oh boy. And the thing is, Moses is right along with us on the exact poetic irony, especially if you know the story. And
Yes,
and
Ramsey
his son,
the final plague.
and his son is framed, and
Oh.
Ramsey's son is framed between the crocodiles, if you noticed.
Yes.
Absolutely
With the
horrible.
babies. It's like, well,
The last plague.
you've decided.
Every firstborn in Egypt will be, as he says.
Okay, Jewish listeners out there, happy early Passover.
Yep.
It'll be this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Basically, the Hebrews were instructed to paint lamb's blood on their doorways.
Just let it finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And then. Right. Okay.
I mean, he's already explaining it, so.
True.
Passover.
Yeah. Why do they call it that?
Now, this scene, it terrified the kids that I showed this to when I babysat them as well. Like, the parents said, like, well, you know, they were fine when they watched Jurassic Park, but, you know, this movie they thought was a little bit much.
Well, when you see, if the bush was burning with, like, flames of a spirit, a ghost flame, it may have, like,
no, what the kids
in the films depict. Well, actually, yeah, because it's not the Holy Spirit. It does. It's the angel of death. This is the depiction.
No, the kids were terrified because of all the children dying in this movie.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
I guess that's what set it apart from Jurassic Park when it was dumb adults who were dying. But...
Yep, and the kids survived in that one.
Yeah.
Here it's like, but yeah.
Ugh.
I made a mistake.
The way they show this is
it's not the Holy
amazing,
Spirit who's doing this. It's the angel of death, or I guess you could say the Grim Reaper, if you must.
Okay. Plus, if we're going in the Jewish context, no, not the Holy Spirit.
True. Absolutely.
Concept of the Holy Spirit came from Jesus.
True. Which he would know. He's a part of that trio. Where are we? Oh, the angel of death is worming its way through Egypt. Yeah, again, it's very hard to follow along through these very colorless shots. And there you go. And
Holy Spirit is also a little bit more of a Catholic concept.
True enough. And there it goes. Oh, don't worry, guys. Ugh. You're too old to die. The pension hasn't
kicked firstborn, honey. The firstborn. That includes the adults.
No, yeah, I know. They looked absolutely horrified. As surprised and shocked as most people look. And we know what that breath was. Yeah. That.
Although people are wondering why Ramses didn't get struck by this plague. Oh. So people either theorize that he actually wasn't the firstborn, maybe there'd been a miscarriage with the one before, or just God intentionally left him alive so he could do this.
The firstborn children of Egypt was, I believe,
No, the firstborn. Smiting of the firstborn.
But like you said, none of the adults died.
The adults did die.
They did.
Did you miss all that?
Apparently. Apparently I'm blind.
The adults die too, smiting the firstborn, but Pharaoh is spared because he needed to free the Hebrews.
Yeah. You take out the political leader, what are you going to do after that? Yep.
And there's still cries from outside, damn.
Yep. The great cry in Egypt. He's in shadow, and Moses is in the light. He didn't want this to happen. And points the human element here.
Yeah, of course, because
there were still sons of
they were Egyptian children, but still innocent children who didn't make this happen.
Yeah. God, that's a terrifying image right there. You can actually see his face there.
Ugh. But he ain't letting it go like that.
Yep. If his heart is hardened before, as in the lyrics. I think that's Ramses, the Sphinx that got conked. Because Seti's was intact.
But the other two were Ramses.
Well, okay, yeah, but there were two Sphinx. The one on the left was Seti, and the one on the right looked like it was Ramses, and its face fell.
Yeah, Moses in the Ten Commandments had like almost zero emotional reaction to this, and that's why I appreciate this. Like, yes, you got the freedom you wanted, but at what cost? All those children.
And his son's brother, and his brother's son, his nephew, essentially.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can you imagine that?
And even Miriam's
Even
like,
he never knew them.
well,
Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
and then we get into the slow build here.
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
And then slowly becomes lighter.
Yep.
And now we Exodus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The tools cast aside. Nobody in the work fields.
Yeah. Yeah. It does a really... Yeah. 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 You gotta love the visual, it's great. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for us to have this moment. You know?
the sister-in-law moment?
No, in real life. This there can be miracles moment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm waiting, world.
Yeah. And some CGI crowd simulations. It's a pretty good. Pretty good, you don't even notice it.
Oh, I got no one to boss around anymore.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
And their empire.
Actually, some of the guards went along with them, if you've noticed. Some other Egyptians left with them.
And here's
Oh, this shot.
Yeah.
Look, you got the old woman who has seen all this her whole life, and then the younger generation
Yeah.
walking into the light.
Yeah.
And the old lady, she's looking at her granddaughter like,
Yeah.
you are not going to, you are going to grow up free. Yes.
Fun fact, Orion the Hunter from Greek mythology is the constellation featured during the final plague. Wow. That's neat. That's a neat little detail.
That's the difference between a bunch of Jewish folks telling the story and a bunch of Christian folks telling the story. We get Hebrew.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
Dancing and singing in
Yeah.
celebration.
I love the big ol' ensemble. Now, despite how big this is more of our 11th hour number in terms of where it rests in the film, because It ain't over till it's over. Yeah.
Yeah,
After
and
so
then you
long.
meet up with your biological brother.
Yeah. You actually see the family resemblance between them too, which is really nice
Yeah.
character design. It's like they look very different, but you can still tell that they're related. Yep.
The way they do the water in this movie.
Yep. It's pretty early CGI for water, but again, like it integrates really well with the 2D art. And there's that.
Baby learning to walk.
That's which was associated with God, especially like at the burning bush. And
I'm sorry, what is?
you know that little melody line?
Oh. Pronoun trouble.
Sorry.
You used too many pronouns and I didn't understand the subject.
Yeah. And here's that Egyptian melody. Yep. Here it comes. When you've got your massive acts of divine intervention. And it will.
Get to him. He's like,
It's
well,
like- Well, what now? I mean, we followed
like,
you
well.
into this, so we'll follow you out of it.
Well, let's see here.
And God spoke to him again. And of course, they don't even need to do that like with actual like VO anymore, because we're all aware of what it means.
And here we go.
You take that staff, and this is the moment. Yep.
Yeah, here we go.
And here and even it's like I had a feeling there was just a couple more.
And this is the act that most people associate Moses with.
Yep. The parting of the Red Sea, and good Lord. And this isn't even like the prettiest bit of it. It's the most striking visual of it, no doubt. But I think the prettiest visual of it is yet to be. Is everyone?
And I love how Aaron, he doesn't even question. He's the first one to go in. And he was like the biggest skeptic at the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, well, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I have faith in you. I have faith in God now.
Yeah.
So I said this last week, but yeah, what I love about this movie, of course, there's mention of God, there's mention of faith, but it doesn't hammer the message down as hard as other versions of this, other adaptations of the story do. You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And you know, it focuses a lot more on the human aspect, the
Yeah.
characters,
Yeah.
their relationships, their struggles, their flaws. And see, some of the Egyptians decided to go along with them too.
Yeah. That human element. And then they light the torches. This is
Now here's some creative license.
Yeah, but this is the real pretty visual right there, where you can see the sea creatures through the water. It's like, good Lord, how
Yeah.
massive, how. And it's the same woman and little girl.
Yeah.
It's like it could have been anyone,
Yeah.
but they used those designs because we already saw them in a associated visual
No.
before, which is great.
Of course, we can never really be sure what really happened, but supposedly they did find remnants of chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea.
And that's because of this. See, God gets out of there.
Hey, those horses kind of look like, what's his name, Arturo?
Oh yeah, from
Eldorado?
El Dorado, yeah. Yeah.
Definitely similar horse designs.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. But this also comes from the biblical text, like, alright everybody, this is the last stretch, and yes, they did come to... Now, dramatically, I don't think... And then again, the Bible's not very clear on that, because, you know, it doesn't give, like, a play-by-play, but, for dramatic purposes, they definitely had them approach much closer. And I think, much as the movie, in the text, Pharaoh does live to see another day after this whole ordeal. All the soldiers he brought down. Because again,
it's a better fitting punishment.
Yeah, it's not. It's like, it's not about how many other people died in this situation. It's about, like, whether or not Pharaoh could learn. But no, every single time he made up his mind and resolved to speak to Moses again and the plague was taken away, he was like, I'm still not letting you go. Yeah. I was like, even on the last where he was like, all right, just leave. He was like, nope, JK, I was kidding. I'm coming back for you.
Look at Aaron, he's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, good.
Damn.
Good Lord.
And yet you all still disobey God time and time again.
Yeah.
Because it's never enough for you.
Humans are very fickle creatures.
I mean, the Ten Commandments goes further with the story, but I think it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's an animated movie targeted for families. You want to end on a happy note.
Yeah. And besides, that's their big finale. And of course, the reprise of Deliver Us. Everything in the score.
Thank you.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. I love how they emphasize the women in Moses' life.
Yep.
Inspiring him,
his
and
mother,
supporting
who
him.
was only seen in the first scene, and then Miriam, who brings him back to memories of his mother and is her own character in her own right.
Even his adoptive mother.
And his adopted mother, absolutely. Even though she kind of tried to get him to forget about it and just, you know, just accept life the way it is. She was still kind to him, if nothing else.
And does ZF's audio sound off? You told me to turn off my noise suppressant, so if it does...
No. It's not that her audio sounds off. It's just the Discord kind of cutting in and out, which is not like...
You didn't update it, so...
Yeah, maybe that is it, but who knows? Anyway. Yeah. It probably is just internet problems, is all. Well, it's probably...
But clearly on your end. I hear you just fine.
I don't know if it's on my end. We haven't dropped any frames this whole stream.
Then you gotta update your Discord.
Yeah. Yeah. Look out among them. Yep. And on we go.
And then the for 40 years. And of course...
Yeah.
And you don't even see the rain, you just see the clouds all convening at the mountain.
Yep. It's got a golden calf that's off screen. And here, the tablets themselves.
The Ten Commandments.
Uh-huh.
Which will be broken in about 5 minutes.
And then reformed. You know, if you want a happier ending on that regard, maybe this is the second time he's bringing them down. You never know. Yeah, just throwing that idea out. Yeah, damn it, Scribe, come on. And... oh, God, every time. Chills, actual chills. Oh, God.
And it's like, that's a message to the audience.
Oof.
Too.
Yeah. And we
I see. We got female producers. No wonder we had such good female characters in here.
And we got our R&B cover of When You Believe, which is their 11th hour number. It kind of makes sense. Original songs by Steven Schwartz.
Steven Schwartz, just a couple years shy of your Tonys.
A score composed by Hans Zimmer. So I'm wondering, probably wondering that, because I know like when Alan Menken does the score, he also does the music for the songs. So I guess we can wait till we get to the song
remember,
credits.
Hans Zimmer also did the score for Lion King, and Elton John and Tim Rice were behind the songs.
So Elton John was definitely responsible for the melodies. So, but it's not like Hans Zimmer.
Well, Hans Zimmer also incorporated the scores from Steven Schwartz's songs.
That's true. That's true. But it's like, it's a collaborative effort, and the fact that Steven Schwartz can write melodies is probably like a little more like collaborative. And then a few years later we're gonna get Wicked out. So we're gonna get Wicked for Good, the Wicked sequel. Yeah.
No, I mean in like 2001, 2, Wicked comes out on Broadway.
Yeah, on Broadway. Yeah, it opens. Yeah. All right.
I mean that too. Yes.
And when is our? I gotta see casting director, because big shout out. Anybody read the name of the casting director, because casting
Wait till
director
we get to casting.
Yeah, because they picked really good.
And Val Kilmer, rest in peace, my man.
Oh my God, there were so many animators for Moses. I mean, he was one of the primary characters in the movie, so it kind of makes sense. Oh my God, I think
we also got younger, so.
Oh my God, I think Moses has more animators overall than any other character. Look at this. Look at how short the credits. Look at how short the credits are for all the other characters.
They didn't get as many scenes. Yeah, Ofra has rest in peace too. She apparently passed away in like 2000, so this is one of her last
CG crowd animation
credits.
and additional animation. Oh, I gotta give credit to the layout, cause like again, like with the mother and then Miriam, and that shot where the, like with the hair or the veil, like or the fabric blowing in their face and their tears. That, like, anytime there's a repeated shot in this film, is just really well done. Like they reused the bit and the same music cue when Ramses says that he's gonna repeat what his father did. He's gonna do another genocide, and actually like finish the job this time. Like, good Lord, dude.
It's like, I really hope God told Val Kilmer, well done as Moses.
All right, yeah.
I didn't want to say
just a real pat on the back.
Like, if there is a God up there, I gotta admit, I'm kind of, given the world right now, I'm probably like Aaron in terms of faith. But
yeah, it's like, where is he? But if you feel that he will come. Chariot race.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently took a long time to animate.
Oh yeah, you gotta give credit to these scenes particularly because and the burning bush, because these were big moments that involved a lot of like CGI and 2D characters, a lot of effects involved, and so you had to have a lot of people involved on that, which makes a lot of sense. Also, the colors like didn't talk enough about it. So, casting director on a lot of DreamWorks films. Leslie Feldman. All right, yeah. Shout out. Casting director on Shark Tale. Well, I mean, Shark Tale's a movie, but, it's still pretty well cast.
And for Megamind, which I appreciate.
Absolutely. So, yeah, give a shout out to Leslie Feldman for a lot of...
also, Hans Zimmer with a bunch of other movies like Megamind and Madagascar.
With the score, yeah.
They pretty much really did just steal him from Disney. I know he's his own man. He doesn't belong to one company, but
I mean, Disney still got him every now and then for a Pirates movie here and there.
It's like Hans Zimmer is like, we all want Hans Zimmer. We can't all have Hans Zimmer.
This movie is majestic. That is a great word for it, Ryder.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently, the stage adaptation didn't get as much traction, and I think COVID had something to do with it.
That's really sad, because this does feel like one of those things where definitely written in a way that it works really well. It's like even with the big stuff that happens.
I've heard clips. They do take away the playing with the big voice thing, but they do like have a little bit. Like they have the high priest singing the first part with the gods, and then the Hebrew chorus kind of segues in like thus said the Lord, thus said the Lord, thus said the Lord.
Yeah. So, Hans is just a movie you don't need to go that hard. Hans Zimmer, the burning piano. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this is for performance and produced by Queen's Reprise, yeah. So John Powell. John Powell often works on these things, yeah. Words and music composed by Stephen Schwartz. Okay. So it's likely that the melodies for the songs were written by Stephen and incorporated by Hans Zimmer into the score, which Hans is really good at that. Yeah, you look at The Lion King and all that jazz. And, like, of course, in The Lion King, he came up with his own musical motifs and other films. Like, he's done, like, the theme to Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, everyone knows that one pretty well. Yeah, everyone on this film did a great job. I think I'm going to have a good cry after this, because this is such an emotional movie. Oh, man.
They did not give Ramses a redemption arc at the end. There was no redemption in there.
Oh, yeah, no. And a few biblical quotes.
Oh, in the musical, apparently. Oh, look, they got Deuteronomy, New Testament, and the Quran. Nice. I don't know,
Blueheart. I don't actually know if I feel very... I don't feel very... That feels like it kind of spits in the face of the text at that point. I mean... I love how they
include all three of the Abrahamic texts in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that was probably the most emotionally taxing of any of the films we've discussed, because like that was wow. Like aside the fact that I grew up with this film, even used to be a movie my mom would put on so I would go to sleep, because a lot of the melodies, again, were like some of them are actual lullabies. So but yeah, so it was called, so my mom would call it my sleepy time movie. But as an adult, I am gripped. I am like locked in. I think I could still fall asleep to it because a lot of the melodies are very peaceful and very relaxing. But at the same time, does it get intense? God.
Yes. I think I saw a meme. This and a bunch of other animated movies from around this time. Like, remember when 2D animation got peak and then they just stopped?
Right?
Yes.
It's like we could also trace the fact that even if this film didn't do like big with awards, which it probably did do fairly well with awards.
I mean, this came out the same time as Mulan.
Yeah. Even if it didn't do as big with awards, it was definitely, you could definitely say that Katzenberg did a much better job having like a different, like, because the Pocahontas film from Disney, it felt very Disney in the moments when it wasn't. Like, the thing is, the songs in Pocahontas work as well as Hunchback or Prince of Egypt, but the thing is, Pocahontas needed to lean on something of a more Prince of Egypt tone, but Prince of Egypt wasn't out yet. There was no frame. The only frame of reference they had was Hunchback, which was a much better tone.
And they had Stephen Schwartz.
And they had Stephen Schwartz again. It's like, so Katzenberg gets Stephen Schwartz and Hans Zimmer. It's basically getting like the best thing from Pocahontas and Hunchback, and then the best thing from Lion King, and puts them together and makes the story he wanted to tell. His, like, he pitched this animated idea to Disney, and they were saying like, no, we won't do it.
Yeah,
and
how ironic though, because
Spielberg was like,
the same guy who thought that Lion King would fail. So ironic.
Ironic, but like when he sees something that does end up working, he ends up like, you know, kind of taking it and like running with it like 500 miles away. You know, it's like, yeah, I did that. I made this.
Yes. Katzenberg is pretty much Disney's angry ex.
Yeah. He's a bit
who still wants to be back together with them.
He's a petty, he can be a real petty bitch sometimes, but he does put money behind some pretty good shit. You know, every now and then, like he'll be like, I have an idea, and it's actually a good idea.
If you can't beat him, join him. It's if you can't join him, beat him.
Yeah.
That's essentially what he's doing.
He wanted Pocahontas to be his award bait against Lion King, so then he basically got to actually do the film that really does feel like at least it's much better, like than like leagues better. And definitely more respectful of the story that it was telling than Pocahontas ever was. So,
I guess he learned his lesson.
oh yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, probably he decided like, okay, obviously like everything being a little too goofy and not taking like the adaptation of this story seriously was a problem on Pocahontas. So decided to lean away from comedy. So having a little bit, you had your Martin Short and your Steve Martin, and you had your Jeff Goldblum being a little just. You know, stuttering his way and through some improv. I think some of those lines had to have been improvised, like, she's ill, very ill, or she had too much sun. Like, those were some pretty good lines. But overall, great movie. Anything else you want to add?
Happy Passover.
Absolutely. Scribe was asking, actually, we do have something lined up for next week. It's actually going to be a much shorter one, but very fitting to the fact that Easter is just around the corner. Probably like another, like, actually like definitely much more lighthearted, but still pretty intense because of the story it's based off of, or like, you know, like that it's, you know, kind of parodying in a way, is we are watching VeggieTales, an Easter Carol. So
yeah, so now we're gonna steer away to strictly Christian.
Yeah, we're moving away from we're moving away from the Hebrew side of things. We're moving on to the Christian side of things. Yep, after the Passover and all that, you know. Here's your 30 pieces of silver, Judas. Everyone, until next time, we're gonna thank you all so much for joining us on this. Oh God, what was the word you used? Majestic tale.
I don't think I did.
No, Ryder did.
Oh.
If you're viewing this after the fact, thanks for watching. Remember to take care, stay safe, and be kind in all that you do. Good night, everybody.